I decided to make a movie about AmeriCorps because in 2016 I saw that the president had proposed eliminating the funding for the National Corporation for Community Service, which would pretty much eliminate AmeriCorps. And I thought that that was totally unconceivable. And I wanted to do something to show how important the program is, not just for me, but for everyone who has served.
When joining AmeriCorps, I was immature and I educated, just graduated from college, life ahead of me, but I did not know what I did not know. Some people don't know what they don't know. That was what working 9 to 5 or just having a career, just, knowing what I wanted to do.
Really changed my life. It changed the whole trajectory of my career and everything that I thought that I could do, what the possibilities were.
And I've been able to apply everything I learned during AmeriCorps, post AmeriCorps.
I'm so grateful for that, to have a career that I could go into every day and know that I'm supporting myself, but also doing something with purpose, because AmeriCorps really gives you that hunger to do something that means something, not doing something to help a company, but doing something to help a community. And that's an opportunity that I don't think a lot of people get, and I think that needs to change. And expanding national service will help that and help people really be able to connect with themselves and do something that's more meaningful.
I would share, my experience with passion to whomever is willing to listen. But I'm grateful for the opportunity to have served in AmeriCorps, and I want to make sure that AmeriCorps continues.
Just like me, AmeriCorps had a huge impact on John. And that's why John and I want to make this movie. That's why we're doing this, because we know how life-changing the program is for those that serve, and also how important the program is for the communities that need extra capacity, for these nonprofits that have like 1 or 2 people working there. They need these service members. We are seeing poverty, we are seeing homelessness, we are seeing disparities in the education system, we are seeing environmental disasters, and now on top of it all, we have this pandemic. We need service to get through this. We need more people choosing to dedicate a year of their life in service to tackle these issues that we're dealing with. And so that's what John and I want to do. We want to encourage people to do that, and we want to push our government to expand AmeriCorps, because we think it's desperately needed now more than ever. All right, welcome everyone to the AmeriCorps Movie Open House. I'm a little bashful in front of the camera, but thought that it would be good to just open with some of the raw footage we've shot so far, and really to just let you know why we are making this film. And we're really excited to have you here with us tonight. My name is Alex Koppelman. I'm the Executive Director of Service is Love, the AmeriCorps movie. And you are with the AmeriCorps Movie Team tonight, who you'll meet shortly. And what we're going to be doing tonight is getting you involved in the film, and then focusing on our legislative effort, which is to propose or build upon a bill that will improve and expand AmeriCorps and ensure that it will always be there for those who serve and the communities who need those people to do that. So what we're going to do to get us started is just go ahead and go in the chat. And we want to learn a little bit more about you. So please go to the chat and let us know where you're calling in from. And then in one word, describe your AmeriCorps experience. So for me, as an example, I would say adventure. AmeriCorps was an adventure for me. So it could be a different word for you, but go ahead and go down into the chat and let us know where you're calling from, and in one word, describe your AmeriCorps experience. So we'll have just about 2 minutes to do that. Go ahead and hit up the chat. Thanks. Okay, we have a few people responding in the chat. Adrian's calling in from Clearwater, Florida. I'm calling in from Boston. Andrew's calling in from White Plains, New York. Alex is calling in from New York City. And Ryan is calling in from Salishland in the so-called Montana community. Great. Thanks for being here, Ryan. Aaron is calling in from Roanoke County, Virginia. Tiffany is calling in from Charleston, South Carolina. Matthew, Reno, Nevada. Caitlin, calling in from Arizona. Christian is calling in from Massachusetts. And then many more that you can check out in the chat. And also some great words to describe service here. Laura says connection. Christian says transformative. Adam says path. John says growth. And speaking of John, I would like to let him introduce himself. He's going to go ahead and introduce himself and then introduce you to the AmeriCorps Movie Team. Take it away, John.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining our first of many more to come open houses. My name is John Edwards. I'm the managing producer of this film with Alex. And with that being said, I manage the back end, I manage the teams and all the external work as well. And we have our AmeriCorps team with us today. And our AmeriCorps team members, go ahead and raise your hand so everyone can see who's contributing. Thank you so much. And with that being said, we're going to introduce our team leads for the movie. Thank you, Alex. So first we have our videography team lead, and that's Adam Greenberg. Adam, you want to say a few words?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's nice to see some familiar names and faces in this room. Working with Alex and John, I'll be leading up videography. So if you have, I'm sure you have some great clips from your service. If you'd like to be part of telling the story and want to share in that, we will be storyboarding and organizing what will come together to be this movie. So if you'd like to play a very participatory role in what will be shown on camera in this film, please get in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have our writing team lead, Adrian. And Adrian, share a few words with our audience.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, everybody. Thank you all for joining us tonight. My name is Adrienne Slagle, and I'm going to work with the writing team. I served 2 years in AmeriCorps in Chicago, and I had a great time, and it opened up a lot of doors. And I think this is just a small way that I can kind of give back for something that's been so impactful on my life. So if you're interested in writing or editing, or just getting experience working on a documentary, let me know. And we're happy to have all volunteers. Thanks.
Very nice. We now have our communications and social media team leads. We have Maisha and Adriana. And Maisha, you want to go first? And then Adriana?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Maisha Williams. I served 2 years in AmeriCorps, one with City Year, one in Memphis and one in Los Angeles. And yes, I'll be working on the communications team. And I'm really excited. So if you want to help us out to promote via social media, Instagram, anything, please let us know. And I'm going to hand it off to Adriana.
All right. I'm not sure if Adriana was able to make it this evening. How about our next slide? Next, we have our communications and newsletter team leads, and all of you should have received a newsletter. We have a newsletter coming out monthly. We have Caitlin Smith here and Amelia Waters. Caitlin, you want to go ahead and share a little bit about our communications newsletter and team?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Caitlin Smith. I served 2 years in AmeriCorps and CCC, both out of the Southwest region in Denver, Colorado. And I am one of the communications team leads, specifically for the newsletter. And yeah, thanks for joining us. And I'll pass it on to Amelia.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Christian and Christine. I served 1 year in AmeriCorps Cape Cod and 1 year with Social Capital Inc. They were both life-changing and profound, as I said. And I was also the program director for Social Capital Inc. for a couple of years. Super happy to have you all here. And if you're interested in writing the newsletter, definitely let us know. Thanks.
Next. So we have a few open slots. We have our music production, our event planning and fundraising team. I am supporting that. We also have a new member engagement department as well, and Brianne has been supporting me with that. Brianne, you want to share a little bit about what we've been doing and trying to get everyone involved?
Yes. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, good. Hi, I'm Brianne Roseman. I served in AmeriCorps and CCC Southern Region Class 20. I also actually worked as a staff member for City Year on the admissions side of the house. So I've had quite a bit of experience with AmeriCorps programs, and I have joined John in part of the member engagement team. So essentially we're interviewing and connecting with people that are interested in helping to support the movie and tying them into specialty teams so that they can use their expertise and skills to help support this project as best as they can. So really excited to have you all here and excited to hear how you all want to get plugged in supporting the movie.
Perfect. Thank you. And with that being said, each team lead, their email address is on the slide, and feel free to reach out. Anything that interests you, go for it. We're looking for as much support as possible, and we're looking forward just to getting as many alumni as possible just to be involved with this film. More the merrier. Alex?
Yeah, thanks, John. And, team leads, if you want to go ahead and put your email in the chat, just in case somebody didn't get a chance to write it down, that would be great. We really do want to see more people get involved in this film. This is a film made by service members for service members. So, we want your perspective. We want to know what's important about service to you. And really, we want you to be able to shape how this film turns out. With that said, the AmeriCorps Movie Team has been working on the film for, I think, almost a year now. So we've come a long way. And as I mentioned in my opening video, we came together to do this because we wanted to protect AmeriCorps from being cut by the previous administration. Well, now there's a lot of new energy, and we're really hoping that with a new Congress and a new executive branch, we can do something that actually improves and expands AmeriCorps. And, just considering all the challenges that we're facing as a country, we think that, we need more service members dedicated to doing things now more than ever. I particularly think service members could be huge in terms of responding to the pandemic, contact tracing, vaccine distribution. I think those are all things that AmeriCorps could put a lot of people power behind. So in this next section here, I am actually going to go ahead and show you the teaser video. And this is a video that the AmeriCorps Movie Team did a lot of brainstorming around, and we produced to basically lay out some of the narrative that we're planning to talk about in this film. And we spent a lot of time thinking about the antagonists in our story. And if you think about our country and what our communities are going through, to me and to the team, we came away with 4 big ones. Issues of inequity, not having equal opportunities for everyone, and systemic issues around that. Climate disaster, hurricanes, earthquakes, all of these different things that are happening because we're not taking care of our planet. Division in America, which has been, ugly and maybe reached a boiling point. It definitely reached a boiling point at the beginning of the month. But we feel that service can bring people together, can build empathy, and hopefully fix some of the division now. But in the long run, we think it really can be impactful there. And then, like I said, the pandemic. So those are the 4 issues that we tried to highlight in the teaser video. I'm going to play it, but just I'm curious, as a show of hands, who has already seen the teaser video? Anybody? Okay, great. Well, then we're going to go ahead and watch it now. So if you give me a moment, I will share my screen and pull it up. So while we are watching the teaser video, we would really love to have some of your feedback. So as you are watching the video, use the chat to let us know some of the things that you like about the video. And then if you notice anything that could be improved, go ahead and let us know that too in the chat. With that, I'm going to go ahead and play the teaser video. It's about 5 minutes. I still wear my AmeriCorps sweatshirt today. It reminds me of the power of service. Service builds understanding. It builds empathy. And I believe the power of love can be channeled through the act of service. But there are too few of us that know this. I think America is more polarized now than it's ever been. In 2016, everything got turned on its head. And unfortunately, this administration has put forth 3 budgets proposing to eliminate funding for the Corporation for National Community Service, which would shut down AmeriCorps as we know it now.
I don't even want to think about what the difference would be if I didn't join AmeriCorps. Biggest thing about AmeriCorps is the economic impact and the social impact that it has on the United States of America.
Millions of Americans who lost part or all of their income due to the coronavirus pandemic are facing eviction as the deadly virus continues to spread across the U.S.
More than 38 million people have now lost their jobs in the United States since the pandemic hit in March.
This morning, flames and smothering smoke are continuing to ravage the West Coast.
And the satellite image tonight showing Maria's massive size, dwarfing the island, no part of it was spared.
Lawyers say they cannot find the parents of, listen to this number, 545 children after they were separated at the border. Some of them have not seen their parents in more than 3 years.
Funeral here today for George Floyd was about celebrating a life that will now forever symbolize the fight for equal justice.
We are facing a crisis. This crisis also presents an opportunity for change. These issues compel us to change, to fight for equality and justice, to live up to the ideals of our nation. National service has always answered this call. That's why we must ensure future generations will always have the opportunity to serve in AmeriCorps.
I am an AmeriCorps member.
As you know, you are taking this oath at a particularly difficult moment, which makes your willingness to serve all the more extraordinary.
I will get things done for America.
I will get things done for America.
After 25 years of service to our country, AmeriCorps has yet to meet a challenge it cannot overcome.
AmeriCorps has done so many things for me, and I want to work with everyone. And at the end, be able to say that I was able to help protect and preserve AmeriCorps.
What AmeriCorps volunteers do is so important that earlier this year, I authored legislation called the Unite Act to make public service a staple of our efforts to respond to and recover from this pandemic.
Reach out, reach out, reach out and love somebody.
Ye have heard that it hath been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies.
AmeriCorps was really the first time in my life that I recognized how lucky I was in this world. I was able to see how we can help others, how we can make sure that everyone has the same opportunities I had, but I also was able to see how the differences between us were minuscule, how everybody was in this community and everyone was in this country trying to do the same thing, and that's what's best for their family and what's best for their communities.
Love has within it a redemptive power. And that is a power there that eventually transforms individuals. That's why Jesus says, love your enemies.
Honestly, as a black male, I've had the opportunity to see people who have not and people who have.
So we must tell our stories of service, not just to protect AmeriCorps, but to make it even better, to use our collective strength to overcome the challenge before us. The time is now. Join us. We'll tell our stories and bring this country back together through our service.
Love, 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 love.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching, and looks like we got a lot of great comments in the chat. Thanks for giving us your feedback. Ryan Martin says, yes, yellow jackets. Christian knows Basu. Ryan likes the part focusing on alums. Adam loves the rising crescendo of the music. Aaron says, great way to show perspectives from various members and alumni around the country. So thanks everyone for your comments. What I'd like to do now is just take a look at those 4 issues that are outlined in this teaser video, which we really tried to focus on as the antagonists in the story. That is inequity, climate change, division, and the pandemic. If you had to choose one of those issues that you think is most important, which one is it? And write it in the chat. I'll write the 4 issues here in case you need a reminder, or I'll just verbalize it again. So it's inequity, climate disaster, division in America, and the pandemic. If you had to pick one, what would it be that you think is most important? All right, thanks everyone. I was pulling up my PowerPoint here, so I didn't get to read the comments yet, but thank you for that. Let's take a look and see what we've got. I wish that we could compile the results for you instantly. We wanted to do some live polling. We were having a little bit of issues with that software. Hopefully we can do that next time. But a lot of people, looks like, have said inequity and division, just taking a quick glance at it. So we will take this feedback with us and you know, analyze that to see how you all feel. You know, because we do want to kind of narrow in a little bit on a focus for the film, but those are the 4 things that we think are issues in America that AmeriCorps can have an impact on. Moving forward, we'll be looking at the protagonists of our story, which are you guys who serve your communities. And in the ongoing open houses that we'll have and online events that we'll have, we'll continue to focus on that. But I am actually excited to tell you a new thing that the AmeriCorps Movie Team is doing, and which we're going to focus on for the remainder of our meeting. So as explained, the film started because we wanted to save AmeriCorps, and thank goodness the last president was not able to eliminate it. But now that we have a new president and a new Congress, and we know that many senators and members of the House of Representatives have proposed legislation to better utilize AmeriCorps to respond to the pandemic and to expand it, we feel that there is a real possibility to do that. And what we want to do is take our network of alums and help lobby for a bill, either building on legislation that's already been proposed or creating our own bill, which we would have to call Service is Love. So what we're going to do for the remainder of the meeting is learn a little bit more about the legislation that's already been proposed, And John is going to give you a bit of a summary about that. And then we're going to think about some ideas for what we could include in legislation that would better AmeriCorps. So just to give you a quick summary of kind of the history of national service, and I want to thank Aaron on the writing team for doing a lot of this research, as well as John. But you know, service has always been something that's been called for in times of crisis. And service originated out of one of the worst crises that America has ever faced, and that is the Great Depression. So in response to the Great Depression, and as a part of the New Deal, the Civilian Conservation Corps was created in 1933, as well as the Works Progress Administration. And that is really the legacy of AmeriCorps. But before AmeriCorps, President Kennedy actually started the Peace Corps, which allowed Americans to serve in other countries. Adam is a Peace Corps alum, and I actually believe he was serving and had to leave because of the pandemic. But the Peace Corps was founded in 1961. And then in 1990, the Corporation for National Community Service was established to respond to domestic issues revolving around public health, education, employment training, disaster response, environmental stewardship, and the like. And you may have heard that recently AmeriCorps has, or the National Community Service Program has rebranded to be just known as AmeriCorps, and they have changed the logo, which some people like and others have a hard time getting used to. So this is kind of a background just to show you that AmeriCorps has always been something that harkens back to history, where people have answered the call to service in times of crisis. So what we're going to talk about now is what kind of legislation we could build upon or propose to really channel the efforts of service members to respond to the most pressing issues of today. And before we have that conversation, I just want to give a brief overview of how legislation is passed. No, a president doesn't just get elected and flip a magic switch and everything happens. This is our system of government, which involves the three branches: executive, which would be the president; legislative, which is the Congress made up of the House of Representatives and the Senate; and then the judicial branch, the Supreme Court, and the like. So in a very basic sense, a bill is usually proposed in a committee of the House of Representatives or the Senate. And if it makes it out of that committee, it may be put for a vote on the floor. If it passes with a majority vote on the floor, then it's been passed. So let's say if it passes in the House, great. But the thing is, the Senate also has to pass it. And so they may make changes to the House's bill. They may say, we don't like the bill, we're not going to even take it up for a vote, and it goes nowhere. I can't tell how many times that has happened. But essentially, the House needs to pass something, the Senate needs to pass something, and then that goes up to the president. The president can then choose to either sign or veto the legislation. So as you know, the House and the Senate are now both controlled by the Democratic Party. And you know, not to say that you know, you need to be a Democrat to support service or good things or anything bad about, you know, the other side of the political spectrum, but having Congress controlled by one party allows for more things to get done usually. So we feel like the positioning here is good. We also know that President Biden has put forth some agendas to combat the pandemic, and we know that, you know, there should be another round of stimulus coming through. Those are times when lots of money gets spent and big legislation is passed. So this is all happening right now, and so we need to really hit the ground running and make sure that we can you know, do something that's going to help get legislation passed. And I will say, as you saw in the teaser video, we've been coordinating with Senator Markey's office, and he has proposed a bill already back in April to expand AmeriCorps, and we hope that we can work with him to get our ideas inputted into this process. John's going to tell you a little bit more about that bill as well as some others. So now I'm going to hand it over to John to give you, he's going to give you a little bit of background on the legislation that has already been proposed.
Perfect. Thanks, Alex. And once again, hello, everyone. So yes, the film, it has taken its natural progression. We first started off as in wanting to bring AmeriCorps alum together to help protect and preserve AmeriCorps. And then with that being said, to support the protection and being able to preserve AmeriCorps, the best way to do that is through legislation. So we came up with this idea. We were able to do some research. Today we'll go over 10 proposed pieces of legislation, bills that have been introduced either through Senate or through the House. And our goal is to take the information from these bills and compile them together to make the Services Love bill. So there's a lot of information. I will share a link with everyone here in a little bit, and you can go and take a deeper dive into the different bills that have been produced. And we want your feedback because we want to make sure that this bill is representative of all AmeriCorps alum and future AmeriCorps members to come. So first, we have the Volunteers in Contract Tracing or Recovery Act. It was introduced by Senator Todd Young, who is a Republican, and it was introduced in July of 2020. And this focuses on pandemic response. So essentially, it would increase funding for AmeriCorps members to support pandemic response, such as the coronavirus pandemic or any other future pandemic that would come in the future. Next, we have Fostering Healthy Transitions into Adulthood Act, and that was introduced by House Representative John Lewis, the great John Lewis, a leader and someone who I admire a great deal. And with that being said, it covers broad service and it focuses on fostering a healthy transition into adulthood. So a little bit more in depth for people who are in foster homes or under state watch. This bill would give those individuals the resources. It will market those individuals who are at risk and tell them and provide them more information about AmeriCorps and other service programs. Next, we have the CORE Act, and that was introduced by Senator Christopher Coons, June 2020. It focuses on pandemic response, creating employment opportunity. A lot of these bills talk about increasing funding, and with that being said, we would need to be specific as far as in the dollar amount, the type of how the funds would be allocated, whether it be to administration or specifically to the core members, housing. So we have to go in depth, but once again, just take all this in mind. Next, we have the Education Award Parity Act, and that was by House Representative Doris Matsui, and that was in March of 2020. So an issue in the past was either people have gone to college or college is not for everyone. So with that being said, this would allow the award to be transferred to a family member or to an identified close loved one. So great opportunity because once again, college is not for everyone. So it's something to take in mind. Next we have recognizing the contributions of AmeriCorps members and alumni to the lives of the people of the United States. And this is once again Doris Matsui, and that was in March as well. And it focuses on raising awareness of and the importance of national and community service. So this would just highlight AmeriCorps. This would give funding for news ads and also increase the acknowledgement of AmeriCorps alum as well. So a lot of different benefits that will come with this. But once again, we have to be specific, but there are pieces, and take a deeper dive and see if you find anything in that bill that may interest you. We have Inspired to Act. Thank you. Inspired to Act, and that was from House Representative Jimmy Panetta in March 2020, and focuses on, once again, increasing marketing and recruitment of AmeriCorps. You know, through numbers, we're able to get things done, and with increasing the budget, we're able to just expand the impact. Let's go to the next one. Thank you. We have the National Service GI Bill, and this was presented by House Representative Mike Waltz, and that was in February 2020. This proposes to pay for in-state tuition. So I like this bill a lot because it gives the opportunity for people to have the same cost of tuition for whatever their home state is. So it limits the cost of tuition. There's a lot of pros with this bill, but there are some things that we do need to take a deeper dive into. So we have to take a deeper dive into this bill. But as far as in having lower tuition costs, I like this a lot about this bill. Next, we have Promoting National Service and Reducing Unemployment Act, and she's a delegate, Eleanor Holmes Norton, and this was introduced January, about a year ago. And this proposes to increase the funding for AmeriCorps and service members from $75,000 to $500,000. This is a really big bill. It wants to increase funding from, I want to say roughly about $3 billion. So this is a huge bill, a lot of financial impact. This would increase the stipend. This would increase the award, the education award. So there's a lot of great things that come with this bill. But once again, we have to think where the funds would come from. So yes, we will be able to increase. However, at what cost? Next, we have so these two bills are the two bills that we're wanting to pull a lot of information from. The Pandemic Response and Opportunity through National Service Act, introduced by Representative Chris Coons, and that was April 2020. And this, yes, would also expand AmeriCorps membership from 75,000 to 300. This will focus specifically on deploying AmeriCorps, FEMA, and Peace Corps members to places that are impacted by pandemics. This is a great bill. Once again, we have, like Alex said, answered the call time and time again. This bill is something that will really support AmeriCorps and support our national service in addition to resolving pandemic issues. And then next, we have the Unite Act, undertaking national initiatives to tackle epidemic act. And as Alex mentioned as well, we have been working with Ed Markey and his staff, and we are wanting to pull a lot from this act as well. But this would ensure Peace Corps members have the opportunity to respond to the pandemic, and this also increases members to 500,000. Now, note, with increasing Corps members, there is a financial impact, but we need to be specific. So once again, I'm going to share the link with everyone. Take a look and feel free to reach out, give your feedback. The bills are lengthy, but when I share the document, go to congress.gov. And with that being said, you can just take a deeper dive, go to text, and then from there you'll be able to read more in depth about each bill that has been proposed. So I'll go ahead and share that now. And Alex, you can take over. You got it?
Thanks, John. And thanks for hanging in there, everybody. We got 20 more minutes. I know that's some dense information, but here comes the fun part. We're going to come up with some ideas for how we think these bills could be improved. And as a starting point, the AmeriCorps Movie Team has drafted some ideas based on a review of this legislation that John talked about, and then just our own AmeriCorps experience and what we think could be better about AmeriCorps and how it could be better utilized. So these are the draft ideas, and I'm going to explain them, and then I'm going to ask for you to pick your top 4 that you like. And what you want to do is just put the corresponding letter in the chat. So as example, it could be A, B, C, D. And those are the 4 that you think are most important. So go ahead and do that in the chat as I'm walking you through this, but I'm just going to explain some of the ideas that came together. One is to partner with the Peace Corps to expand a broad national service umbrella. So, serving abroad and serving here, we think that there's opportunities for Peace Corps and AmeriCorps to work together better. Also kind of leaning on the idea from the Unite Act, which is to take the Peace Corps members who are displaced because of the pandemic and make sure that they are working to respond to the pandemic here at home. provide free housing or transportation vouchers for all service members. So, I know that some of us in specific AmeriCorps programs didn't have housing provided, and because of the stipend, it made it challenging for many of us. I know John felt that way. So that's an idea. Another one is to increase awareness of AmeriCorps in elementary, middle school, and high schools, as well as through maybe a social media campaign, that sort of thing. But increase awareness, make sure more people know about it. Another one is to give all AmeriCorps members who successfully complete their term of service a period of non-competitive eligibility. And then the next one, make AmeriCorps more accessible for those that apply. So, if only, I think it's something like 65,000 are accepted each year, that means the application is pretty competitive, and not as many people get to serve as I'm sure would like to. So that's another idea. Lower the student loan debt by a certain percentage for those that serve. So this idea is basically saying, if you served, then any student loan debt you have is going to be reduced by a certain percent. Then here are our remaining ideas. Allow college credit hours while serving. So if you're serving the program, you could earn credit for college. That's an idea. Offering skill development and certifications where you're serving, so that we can build the resume of service members so that they can have a better shot in the job market when they come out of their years of service. The next one is to simply increase AmeriCorps stipend pay, which we know is not very much. A lot of people are choosing to give their time for service, but we also know that there's people who need money, to live. So that's an idea. Then make education award non-taxable and allow it to be used for up to 4 years instead of up to 2. Expand opportunities to serve two members who are from diverse communities. So seeing a more diverse representation within AmeriCorps itself. And then the next one is to target service to key communities that are facing systemic issues. We know that the issues we've identified, whether it be inequity or really anything, it has to do with a history of racism and discrimination in this country. So how do we right the wrongs of past using service to do that? Employ community members to serve in their own community. Okay, so we thinking more about how it is good for people who live somewhere to also serve there. And then the last one, make at least 1 year of community service a requirement to be eligible for government programs, etc. So essentially, like if you're going to get assistance for something, you have to have served. And then I'll put out there as a radical idea, what if we just required a year of service from everyone, which they do in some other countries. So take some time and write down your top 4. I know it's a lot, so I'll give you some time to do that. So I'm going to flip back and forth between the slides so you can read them again. And again, what you want to do is write your top 4 using the corresponding letters next to each idea. This is A through F. In a moment, I'll go to the next one so you can see that again. Okay, I'm going to go to the next one so you can review those as well. Okay, great. I'm going to just go back to the first slide and then to this one more time to give people one more chance to read through. Okay, that's A through F. And here's all the way through N. Okay, I'm going to give everyone just about 2 minutes to finish their thought, and then we will go to the next section where we're actually going to suggest our own ideas. All right, just take about 10 seconds to finish your thought. All right, so thank you so much for your feedback. We're definitely going to use it as we continue to work on this legislative effort. And now I think is the most important time. We want to hear from you, your own ideas. So what did we forget about? What did we not include? Is there something that's glaringly missing? Is there something that needs more details? Do you have a radical idea? We want to hear from you. So let's take the next 5 minutes or so to suggest our own ideas. So you have complete liberty to type whatever you want in the chat, and we'll take 5 minutes to do that. And then we'll be getting close to adjourning for the night. And it looks like we'll have some time left over to answer any questions you may have. So take the next 5 minutes and think of some ideas, put your thinking cap on. I think maybe back to your year of service, or maybe you're serving now. How could you be making a bigger impact? How could AmeriCorps be supporting you better? How could AmeriCorps be utilized to respond to the pandemic? How could AmeriCorps be utilized to create better equity and opportunity in America? How could service be used to help bring people together?
And once again, I shared the link with the bills. So if you want to take a look at the bills, just for some more ideas, go for it. The link is in the chat. And if you don't respond now, no worries. But just take a look and reach back out to us and let us know what you think. But there's a lot of information.
I would love to say that we got one idea from every person that attended tonight. So I am challenging you to write one idea in the chat. And of course, if you have many ideas, you can post them all. Ooh, we have an interesting idea from Ryan. He's thinking about how the Army Reserve works as far as responding to natural disasters and things. So if AmeriCorps had a reserve option, essentially somebody could work, but then go on hiatus to go and respond to something as a service member, to give people who are currently employed an opportunity to serve. I think that's a really cool idea, Ryan. Thank you. We also had an idea around mental health resources, definitely. Laura says that she agrees with mental health services for serving members. Beth would like to see some more education around equity and multicultural education. And it looks like, you know, some of that is incorporated into some AmeriCorps programs, but not maybe all of them. But that's something we can think about with legislation, is to say, like, has to be in all of them. You have to have this kind of education in all of them. So Matthew is saying it's important to make it easier for those from lower income communities to serve because folks from there don't have as much financial stability to serve themselves, become AmeriCorps members. Ryan would like to sneak the old logo in the bill. I'm sure you're not alone there, Ryan. Adam says yes to EBIs. Thanks, Beth. Alex says current AmeriCorps members serving with City Year need more funding for education, so we have more school partnerships. Thank you. That's great. Yeah, please feel free to continue. I would love for this conversation to continue beyond the event tonight. So you can always get in touch with us by sending an email to AmeriCorpsMovie@gmail.com or sending an email to any of the leads who posted their emails. And the best place to find information is at AmeriCorpsMovie.com. We're on pretty much all the social media platforms, so you can check out updates there as well. I do have to shamelessly plug the teaser video. I'm going to put a link to it in the chat. If you could share this video, I think it would be really great. We believe that the video is a great way to tell somebody what this whole thing is about, rather than trying to explain it or make sure that they understand the basic storyline. You can just send them the video. So we hope that you'll share it with your fellow service members and alums, and also use it as a communication tool when you're talking to somebody about the project. You'd like to get somebody involved. It's a great way to tell them what it's all about. So that's just about all we have. If you have more comments, please email them to us at AmeriCorpsMovie@gmail.com. And please stay connected with us. We are going to host more of these online events as we continue to work on the legislative effort and as we begin to start building out the other side of the narrative, which focuses on the protagonists. So as you can see in the teaser video, we've identified the antagonists, which are, kind of dark and gloomy. And now it's time to bring the light in, talk about the protagonists, talk about all the things that AmeriCorps is doing, how important service is, volunteerism is, look at this in a bigger spectrum, think about Peace Corps, think about all these other things. So please do join us for these ongoing events, and get in touch with us if you have any questions. But right now we have about 5 minutes left over. So I just want to open it up to the virtual room. Does anyone have any questions or comments for us?
Hey, Alex, this is Adrienne. We have a really good question from Andrew. He's in the chat. He said, so are our goals to make the movie or to help push legislation, or both? How much of the movie has been filmed?
Those are really good questions.
Yes.
How much of the movie has been filmed? I'm going to say maybe about 20%. So there's still a lot to go. It's mostly been interviews with John and I, but we really want to go and be able to visit service members at their sites. The pandemic has made that a little bit difficult, but we'd also like to engage people in different parts of the country to try and really represent the different areas of the country and the different needs. And that's something that we're going to be focusing on moving forward, is identifying, which programs relate to these issues that we identified: inequity, climate, disaster, division in America, and the pandemic. Which programs, which service members are really doing a lot of work on that right now. In terms of the legislation, this is part of our effort as an alumni organization that I look at us as. And I believe that this could really drive the story of the film, because we are making an effort to try and improve AmeriCorps, starting out to protect AmeriCorps when it was being threatened. And now we're trying to improve AmeriCorps where we feel like there's more opportunity to do that. So that kind of provides a train for the film where the story is moving along as we're making our legislative effort. And, you know, making a documentary is kind of fun because it's real life and things happen and the story goes as we go. So it could end up where we are able to get some legislation passed or help members of Congress lobby and get legislation passed. And that would be like maybe the conclusion of the film. Or it could be a much longer process and we feel like we've completed the film, we told the story we want to tell about AmeriCorps, and then the film can be used to get the legislation passed. So those are the two scenarios I see, is we either pass the legislation or help a member of Congress pass it with our efforts, telling our stories of service, or we complete the film and then we use the film as a tool to lobby for the legislation.
Yes, Alex, are you reading the chat? We've got some really good questions here coming in from Ryan. Do you want me to read it to you?
Let me go ahead and try and get in the chat here. Okay, so Ryan says, how are you going to engage service members in this movie without violating policies around pushing legislation? So that is a good question. People who are officially employed by AmeriCorps, say like AmeriCorps directors of different programs, they can't lobby for legislation because of the Hatch Act. And I'm not sure how that plays out with somebody who's a service member, but you know, we're an alum organization and we're certainly allowed to lobby for legislation. So if somebody's involved, you know, they're involved in an alumni organization, it's very common for those types of organizations to lobby for legislation.
And that really brings us to this next question from Alex about, are the interviews can they only be alum, or can we interview current members who are currently serving right now?
Yes, we want to interview current members, but we have to really think about who that is based on the resources we have available and where they're located and what their program is doing. But you coming out tonight, if you are serving right now, please let us know where, and we'll get in touch with you and we'll have a conversation to learn more about where you're serving and if it's possible for us to come out and interview you on site.
And I know we're really close to being on time, but we've got one really good question from Matthew. Have you thought about working with existing groups like America's Service Commissions or City Year? It jumped for their help with legislation.
Yeah, I think that we still really have a lot of opportunities to connect with other AmeriCorps alumni organizations and really take a united effort here. As far as working with City Year, I don't think we could do that because of the conflict of interest with the Hatch Act and all of that. But we certainly should be partnering with existing alumni organizations. I know that there are several of them, and a few people have noted that in the chat, and I appreciate that. We definitely want to be doing that, and I think our communications team will be focusing on that moving forward.
Alex, can I put a comment? This is Christine, and I never served as an AmeriCorps member. I'm the program director, and even if I'm not an AmeriCorps, I think reaching to host sites programs, they can help with the bills and the program directors because they have we don't have any rules that can do that. And because host programs, they know the impact of AmeriCorps members, I think they can be able to help pushing these bills.
Hey, Christine, we actually, it's good to see you. Christine's in Boston, and she connected me with Basu, and we interviewed him. And that was kind of easy for us to do because I'm located in Boston. I do a lot of the videography work as well as Adam and others that we're bringing into the project. I think that's a great idea, Christine. Maybe we could do some focus groups with people who lead different programs to learn more about what their challenges are and what would be helpful for them in a bill.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's all we have, Alex. Thank you.
All right. Well, hey, this is our first AmeriCorps Movie Open House, and we really appreciate you coming out, and we really look forward to continuing to connect with you as we work on the film and our efforts to protect and improve AmeriCorps. So thank you so much. Please follow up with us if you have additional questions, and stay tuned for the next open house. All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.